and we know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sondra Ray, and I am the host and producer of the Coffee Shop Show, sponsored by Explore ProTech. It's always a mouthful to start the show with. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from all over the world. This is the co-founder, Peter of Explore ProTech, and the amazing Miss Megan Deers, who is an amazing member of the tribe. Today is a great topic because it's it's like the essence of Explore ProTech, networking and collaboration. Like, it's called a tribe for a reason. And I think, no, I don't think, I know it was one of the reasons I was like, yes, please, can I join? Because it was exactly what I was looking for. It was not a you join and it was not on, the process was not like anybody else's process. It wasn't pay this huge fee. It wasn't you get limited this and that. It was come see what it's about. We'll see if we like you, you see if you like us, and if this is going to work. Um, and then just the whole concept of tribe. And of course, they're based out of Africa, and so there's a big reason for that. So today on the show, we're going to talk about, networking is a buzzword, I think, that gets good and bad connotation to it. So some people are like, yeah, but I went to 20 network events this week. And I'm like, and what did you get out of it? Like, I know people that go to two or three a day, or two or three a day. And I'm just like, but what are you getting out of it? Networking is, you do it for a reason, obviously, whether it's to get your name out there, partners, collaborations, sell your services. There's many reasons that people network. And you also have to find that rhythm that is right for you. The other thing about networking that I think people forget is the after. There are steps you need to take after you network. Or why network? To me, it's like, why do it if you're not going to take the after steps? Have a process for after. I always tell people do it as soon as possible after so you don't forget, or take notes in your phone or your notebook or whatever, that you need to reach out to so-and-so for this, that, add them to your CRM. Of course, nowadays there's digital business cards that you can scan and it automatically does those things. But a lot of people do old school and have business cards and things that you got to enter into your enter in your database. I know there's actually programs out there. You take a picture of the card, puts it all in there for you. But then make those appointments, make those connections afterwards. Hey, happy to see you at, the event today. Let's chat more, or here's my website, or here's the thing I promised you. It's that follow-up. Money is in the follow-up. That is just a true statement. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So networking plus follow-up is probably my biggest tip on how to network successfully. So that's kind of part one of our show, and the other part is collaboration. Collaboration can go good and it can go bad. Um, Again, it's really about what process do you have set up, who the other person is, trust. I'm all about writing things down. Some people get very frustrated with me, but I've been burnt, unfortunately, in the past, lesson learned. So everything gets written down. Doesn't necessarily have to be super formal, super legal. Um, but I do write it all down. I have people sign things, acknowledge things, and so on and so forth. It's a win-win. Then both sides know what they're collaborating on, and the split and who's in charge of what. So those are my biggest tips with that too. So Peter, I'm gonna say, Peter, raise your hand. Start with networking because I know this is
Oh,
Peter's huge thing. Everybody knows Peter for networking and connecting.
well, but it may be my huge thing, but I think Megan's actually better at it than I am. Just off the cuff. I think I've got the concepts of building the space and uniting the people and getting the people together. But when it comes to being very strategic and networking with the right people and pushing certain projects and getting things lined up and rolling things out, I think that's where Megan is actually like a super boss. Absolutely brilliant. Um, I think people miss a whole lot. We see it a lot in industry. We see it a lot in spaces that are very elegantly constructed, universities, places that are put together with a whole bunch of information, and it becomes this monotonous step by step by step, paint by numbers, do A to get to B, and it becomes this monotonous thing. And it's so true. Networking has earned itself a terrible name because people just aren't doing it properly. Number one, network with people that you actually want to network with, that you look forward to speaking to because you like them and they like you. It's now not a task. It now becomes, oh, I'm meeting so and so at 4. Oh, we got this exciting thing happening at this. It becomes this almost like this drive. Um, can you be strategic about it? Yes, because when you are building relationships with people, you get to know who they are, their strengths, their weaknesses. If you know where your strengths and weaknesses are, you're networking with people that are strong where you're weak. That's being strategic. And if you happen to like them at the same time, well, that's a bonus. Um, this whole serial networking thing of people going to loads of networking because they're just trying to present themselves and get themselves out there. You're pushing for quantity. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Um, do you want to go to loads of networking events? Maybe in the beginning to find the right space or to find the space that you fit. Can you go to others? Yes. Do you have to go to hundreds or 3 or 4? No, you actually don't. You just got to find your space. Everybody will kind of gravitate to a different space. I've had people come into our space and go, it's not structured enough. And I'm like, structure? What's that? I have no idea what you're talking about. And they require something a little bit more structured. Everybody's meeting at this time, everybody has to be there. If we have a meeting, I don't know how many people are arriving. Or if anybody's going to pitch because it's just not a standard requirement. And then we'll jump into a meeting and then surprise, surprise, 3 or 4 people rock up and we have the best time ever. Um, and we get stuff done. It's absolutely brilliant because we know the people around us. And I think when you start doing this serial network hopping, you may be filling in the letters A, you're doing step A, B, C, D, but you find you're achieving nothing. You're missing the people. You may be meeting them and you may be presenting your stuff to them, and then you're off to the next group and you're meeting a whole bunch of new people, but you're actually not really meeting the person. Not at all. And networking is about people. It's about a genuine connection. It's about how you interact with each other. And I must say, in our space, I mean, it's very easy for us to go, well, what project would we want to do? And everybody in the space knows who's good for what role. Everybody in the space knows who's good at what, or knows Who's going to fill what space, who's going to get what done, who's going to lead the project, who's going to be up front, who's going to be the face, who's going to be the speaker. Am I the speaker? No, no, please not. I don't want to be the speaker. Who's going to be the face of the project? Who's going to be the representative? Who's going to be the person in the background, making sure all the details are getting looked after? Who's going to be the person to make sure everybody's there? Some of them. You can get stuff done when you don't miss the people. And I think that's where networking gets its bad name. I've been to networking events and I've seen somebody jump the gun where they go, "Oh, excuse me, I can't be here for very long. In other words, I'm not interested in meeting anybody. So can I go first so I can just present my stuff?" And instantly, I'm like, I don't like that person. I don't want to talk to that person. I don't want to see their stuff. They don't really deserve to be here. They're dismissing everybody. And they quickly went, "Here's my slides. Check my stuff. Da 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 da. If you need this, call me. Bye." And they left. What was the point? I now make a mental note. If I need anything like that, I don't go there because they don't see me as a person. They don't want to engage or talk to me or get to know me. So the networking side of it, please see people for who they are and recognize their strengths and support their weaknesses. Be strong where they're weak and allow them to be strong where you're weak. And you can create magic.
I love that. I love that. Yes, networking is about relationships. Business relationships is what you're building for possible business partners, collaborations, clients, resources. That's how I have gotten my resources, is by networking and getting to know people. I prefer one-on-one. I am not a big room fan. Work the room. I'm the wallflower, so I will not work a room because it's one of those I have to the force structure of you have to like circles or whatever gives me that push to do that. So I haven't I've went to a couple of those. They're not my comfort zone for sure, but I also know that again, like you said, trying different styles and trying different methods. I've done speed networking. That definitely wasn't for me. I'm like, how do you get to know somebody in 5 minutes? It's like, no, thank you. And then again, with Zoom and technology, and then of course, COVID really pushed everybody to do virtual. I have zero problems with doing virtual. No, I have no problems with that. A lot of people are back to wanting to do in person. Good for them. You got to find out what works for you, what style works for you, what your comfortable, and to be your genuine self. I'm not one to, they're all polished and in their suits and everything in person, and then, totally opposite in their business or whatever. So definitely want to see the genuine person, that relationship building for sure. Miss Megan, come on in.
Thanks, Sondra. Hi, Peter. Hi, everyone tuning in. Yeah, just want to add to what both of you were saying. So the networking aspect, yes, you're going to go through quite a few places before you find your spot. It's definitely about the connection and just, one trick that I've tried over the years when I feel like Sondra was saying, little overwhelmed by the number of people in the room or, the sheer volume of discussions happening, etc. It's just come away with one name of interest that you would want to actually connect with afterwards. And that's it. Focus on one person. Just listen. I love what they call the elevator pitch, so that little introduction that everyone normally gives in the networking space. Because if that makes me curious, you are my person, right? And I will tag along with you throughout the meeting and just pick up bits and pieces about you. And I think that's part of the reason why I enjoy networking like I do. And, it's about the connection with the person and individualizing it. That's what the experience is for me. So out of the room, I will choose one or two people that I really want to focus on for today. And I will really strike up a conversation with them and start the way to future conversations. So definitely for me, the connection is important. the trust, the values, shared values. Sometimes in one conversation, you get to the point where you can go, yeah, that one thinks like me. This one is, of the same mind. I can have a conversation with this person again. And that's the way you do it. But I think the other thing to remember also is networking can slurp your time away. And just getting caught up in so many. I mean, for the first couple of years I was in this business space, I networked everywhere all the time. And I think I was typically that person that Sondra was saying, 3 or 4 networking sessions a day, different parts of the globe. And I still go to most of those spaces today, but I've sort of widened the circle and I just do a rotation. So I keep in contact with all the groups, but I'm not there every day. I'm not there every week, but I'm there often enough to make myself valuable, I feel. And I think that's something that's really worked for me in this space. So yeah, that's maybe one networking tip to go with, is just to find a nice schedule of rotation for yourself and just stick in the places that you actually feel like this is a space I can work with and belong to, and circle that orbit, keep going.
I love that, Megan. 2 things that you said stuck out to me is the pick the 1 or 2 in a room. So the end person, that's usually my goal, talk to 1 or 2 people, because again, I'm an introvert, so I do great on Zoom, but in person I'm very awkward and shy. And so that was always the goal, 1 or 2, whether it was a room of 50 people or a room of 10 people, like 1 to 2 at the most. And then the other, like you said, rotation of events is good, and have yourself a schedule, like you said. As I always say in my 90-day audit, review that. Like, review what networks are you in? Have you not been to a networking event in 90 days? Do you still want to be part of that group? Should you pop back in and be like, hey, wait, I'm still here, got caught up in life and I'm back? Or put that one to the side and be like, I want to find this one, new one, or whatever. Or my priorities have shifted, or my business has shifted, or I've added things and I think I need to go, look for this type of networking event. So that 90-day review gives you that screenshot of like, where have I been showing up? Is it working for me? Is it not working for me? Where do I need to tweak that? Do I need to change that? Do I need to do less? Do I need to do more? And that's a whole section in my 90-day review is networking and collaborations, groups, communities, because it's really important to know what you're part of. I paid for communities and forgot about them, I'll be honest, until they come up for review, and then you're like, daggone it, why am I still paying for this? And I haven't went in 6 months, 9 months. I've been canceling some because I'm just like, okay, I'm obviously not getting into these. Because I've went in many different directions this year, I think, and that's where I've gotten myself into a little too many circles, and then like, okay, pull back. These are not circles you're using at this time. It doesn't mean you can't come back to them. Like if you join them and have to leave and come back, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, review that, because you don't want to be paying for something, especially if it's paid. Don't be paying for something that you're not using. Same thing with tools and systems, don't be paid for stuff you don't use, but that's part of that 90-day quarterly review, so that you know what you're doing and not doing and what you're getting out of things. Mr. Peter, come on in.
Part of my process, and it's been part of my process since the very beginning, and Megan will know this because she's been through it. Sondra, you'll know it. You've been through it. Everybody in the space has been through it. Was the dating the tribe, where people got to come into the space. And this is something I truly believe. I truly believe you should not pay for something unless you know I can grow here. I can be of service here. People in this space can be of service to me. I can build real relationships here with others. Others can build real relationships with me. I can build long-lasting relationships. If the answers to those questions, and I'll say this to everybody that wants to join the space, if the answers to those questions are more negative than positive, please don't waste our time or yours, because that's not what the space is about. But if you're looking for a space to connect, then come and experience it. Because then you join based on your experience. You step into a space, you experience the people, and then you're like, oh, wait, this is a place I really want to be. It's worth paying for. And I think that transaction is very important. But then you get these hyped up spaces, and you get what's called perceived value. Come and join our networking group and you will get. And there's a whole list of things you'll get, but they mean absolutely nothing. You'll get all of this and more if you join now and pay X amount of dollars or X amount of rands, but you haven't experienced the space, but you've been told it's the best, or the way it's presented is the best. But from my experience in reality, I've met with networking group owners from around the world. In fact, I've created a space of networking, a networking group just for networking group owners. And from my experience, the spaces that rely on the marketing to a point where they push that marketing, turn people over. And they have to turn people over because they've got to keep the numbers up. And the numbers up means the more income, and the more income, the more successful the space. And it becomes this ratty wheel. And I could survive in this space for maybe 5 minutes. I'm not really interested. And then I got to challenge it. I got to challenge it to a point where somebody that had a networking group, and I think he had in excess of maybe like 40 or 50,000 people in his network that he owned, and he was doing really well. He was doing really well because it was his networking group, 40 or 50,000 people all paying membership fees. And I was like, great, what do they get? And he was rambling off, they get this, they get that. And I'm like, that really doesn't mean anything. I asked him what his retention rate was, and that wasn't very good. And at that time, I don't think we were losing people at all. I think we'd lost 1 or 2 people over like a 4 or 5 year period, but we don't really lose people because people are important and they need to belong. So, and they've done our challenge, and the challenge was, let's create a project. Let's see me with my group, and I think at the time we had maybe 40 people in our network, and it was tight, and the people were tight, and they all knew each other, and they were all looking out for each other. Some of them were doing joint work sessions where they were on Zoom and doing their jobs and chatting, and we were having Zoom dinners, and we were like really getting to know each other. And it turned out that in his network, he didn't really know the people in it. And the same project that would cost, we did a costing out of what it would cost him to finalize this project, and it was somewhere in excess of $2.5 million to function this project. And I was like, oh, well, that's really funny because it's going to cost me nothing, absolutely zero. It's going to cost me nothing. Because all I have to do is go to the people that I have built relationships with and go, hey guys, I've come up with this project and we can make it work like this, and we can benefit, and we can build this into something really special. Who's in? And the right people would just put up their hands and go, actually, you know what? That's a really good idea. I want to do this part and I want to do that part. And we would build it together and we would profit together. And that's kind of the point of a networking space. But when you've got a networking space where one person profits, which is the owner of the space, and everybody else is just like, well, we should be getting somewhere sometime soon, but the wheels are just turning and nobody's going anywhere. Is that real? It's not real. So it goes right back to the people in the space are the power. It's the quality of the people, not the quantity. It's, you know, you could go into a fight with a proverbial toothpick, you know, instead of a sword, and still be the victor because your toothpick is just really strong. You know, it's one of those David and Goliath moments. David does slay Goliath, and he does it with one stone, which might be just the right person. You throw the right person at the right problem, and you end up with the right result. It's just the way it works. Peace.
I love that, Peter, for sure. And I do firmly believe there's a community or network out there for everybody. So like we said, looking for that. And if your have a goal. If your goal is to make money and get yourself out there and that's you know, you don't want the relationship, you just want to do business. There are ones that are just business forward and they don't care so much about building a relationship. So if you want relationship-based ones, there is those out there too. You know, and maybe you're niche down to a certain niche, and they can be harder to find if you're very niche down, but ask people in your niche, you know, if you, I don't know, sell disc golf frisbees, you know, that's your jam. Well, that's actually a huge sport here. But you know, find people that do that. We have so many resources nowadays, the internet, social media platforms galore, and just do yourself a solid and look around for, you know, set a timer for an hour or something and be like, what networking for this? I'm pretty sure it's out there. Once in a while, you got to create your own, but nowadays it's pretty standard that there's something out there um, for everyone. Just you got to look and research and do a little legwork, which is 100% fine because that's your goal. You know, you want to find the networking community that you're going to fit in with. Go ahead, Megan.
Thanks, Sondra. I just wanted to also add to what both you and Peter mentioned a bit of. So the in-person networking is something that I'm really taken to again in the last year to 2 years. And to combine that concept with what you've just mentioned, niching down, go to your industry networking, go to your industry events that are focused on your people doing your thing in your language. Some simple solution to finding lots of people to speak to in one space on one day or for 1 hour and just, you know, get the time in. So I've been in my space balancing out the online, because I do so much of the global thing, doing the online networking, and then really trying to balance it out with in-person local networking, depending on which business I'm representing. I mean, you mentioned something that puts you off a little bit, Sondra, you know, everyone dressed to the nines and all of that kind of thing in the in-person space. I go to my favorite networking space that is local because it's right opposite my favorite beach, the one in the background. And I make sure I'm in the jeans and sandals because it's a mandatory drive through on the beach with coffee in the morning on the way to the session. It's networking for a couple of hours and then it's a standard walk on the beach after. And that's what we're looking for. So make it work for you is what I'm saying. Just find those spaces where you can actually just fit it into your space in the best way possible, and it'll always be a win-win.
I love that, Megan, for sure, for sure. And you know, it's very popular in the US to have like mom walking groups, you know, and meet up for coffee, you know, coffee chats, you know, we have a coffee shop show here, but like, you know, meeting up for coffee in the morning after you drop the kids off or all those different things. So again, there's pretty much something out there for everybody. You just have to find something that's going to fit your schedule. Go ahead, Peter, and I want to switch just a little bit towards a little more about collaboration.
Oh, I was actually going to speak about collaboration.
Okay, go ahead. Cool. Kick this off.
Collaboration is a scary thing. It's scary because as an entrepreneur, you have customers or you have clients and you need to satisfy those clients. And when you bring somebody else into that space, you don't yet know whether they can deliver. You just don't know. So I think this is where you can actually utilize networking to your best advantage, because if the space that you are networking in is tight, everybody knows each other, they've all in some way, shape, or form functioned or done something for each other, you can get a general idea of somebody before they've even done anything for you, because you can speak to somebody that they have done something for before and get a general consensus. Do they deliver? Do they deliver on time? Can I rely on this person? And if you ask in a network, can I rely on this person? A network should turn around and tell you very quickly in honesty, actually, I tried to get them to do this for me. I'm still waiting. Um, they haven't delivered. It's 3 months later. And then oh, okay, that could be a little bit, that might be detrimental to your space. It might be a good idea to find somebody else. Any recommendations? Oh, yes, so and so used this person. Apparently, they were great. Awesome. Thank you so much for the information. You want to take the sting out of collaboration as much as possible by using networking as your buffer. Don't just jump into a networking space. Oh, you do this. I need 500 of those. Because you don't know if they can deliver. You don't know if they have stock. You don't know if they actually deliver on their services. You have no idea. You don't know the person. So jumping into a collaboration cold is not a good idea. Me personally, I do not jump into a collaboration with somebody I don't know, or that my membership or anybody within my membership has not had experience of. So Megan could do something with somebody else, and I might need that person's services, and I can go to Megan and go, "What was your experience?" It's not, it's not about speaking about somebody behind their back. It's about creating a space of safety, and everybody in the space should know 100% that they can go to anybody and ask about anybody else. What has your experience been of this person? Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. And you know what? They're really funny, and you'll get along really well. You're stepping into that space a little warmer than, and with an understanding of they've delivered before. The chances of them delivering for me is slightly higher, and I can expect slightly more. I can expect even more than what I expected in the first place, because they're absolutely brilliant. So don't step in cold. And I think that's where people make the mistake. They step into a space cold, they go off face value. They don't really know of anybody that's experienced that person or has bought into that person's services, or maybe they online and you're networking, they say, oh, I can increase your following by X amount by blah 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 blah, and you think, oh, this is great, I need this person, and it doesn't work. Oh well, but you've paid for their services. But if you go to somebody else, they did it for you. How did they do it? Wow, that's incredible. And it actually worked. And it was genuine follows, or it was genuine. It's not just like generically generated. Is it real? Is it, what am I expecting? Do your homework and utilize networking to do your homework before you jump into a collaboration. Sometimes you don't have the luxury of doing that, because maybe the person that you're wanting to collaborate with is someone that is not in your network, and they are in a very specific space, and you need to be in that space. Then you've just got to be a whole lot more careful and make sure that you put everything into a contract. I think I think Sondra will thank me for that.
Yes, contracts. Contracts are important. Contracts protect both sides. Contracts have a negative connotation, especially in collaboration, because they're like, oh, we're collaborating, so we're doing this together, or you're doing this for me and I'm doing this for you, or we're starting a project together. Contracts are great because it tells you who's supposed to do what. And then if something goes south or something happens, and I don't know, somebody comes and asks you about the person, you'll be like, okay, we had a contract for this and it didn't happen, or I had a contract for this and it went sideways, or it's kind of that backs up what you're saying, good or bad. So yes, I do contracts. I've done contracts I don't think I've done anything lately without a contract in like years, including hiring my children. Like they still had to sign a contract. So, um, that's a business. I do contracts for even when I like give away stuff and stuff, I'm like, this is what I want to give you in exchange for the giveaway you won. It just guarantees what I'm going to give them. I've had some people that are running giveaways and like, no, we won't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, then I'm not giving away anything in your space. Like that's my process. That's my standard operating procedure for a reason. I got burnt. Like thousands and thousands of dollars burnt in the very beginning of my business. So, by somebody I trusted. So, and we went on word. We didn't go on written. So, and then of course, you have the law behind you if that has to come into it. And collaborating means you're doing something together, whether that's you're creating something new, you're exchanging things to I don't know, on a big project, but collaborating means working together. And you have to figure out what that means. What does that mean, working together? Can your styles work together? If you're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Accountant like everything has to be numbered out, everything has to be written to a T, you're not going to go collaborate with Peter. Love Peter to death, but you're not going to go collaborate with Peter because Peter is not going to look at the numbers. Peter doesn't care about the numbers. Peter's not going to look at the piece of paper. If you're an ideas person and you need somebody to execute, then you get somebody to execute. If you're an ideas person and you get another ideas person, you guys got a whole lot of ideas and nothing else. Like nothing's moving forward. So you want somebody that's going to usually not the same type of person as you. It's basically you want somebody that's going to walk beside you in your collaboration. So think about that. And I work with some very strong, opinionated, very, very driven clients. And it took me a long time, but I have learned how to manage that by working with them. And now they recommend me because they're like, she can handle the overbearing, very strong, opinionated people who want to get stuff done. And she can make them slow down. She can get them to be like, okay, this is the process. You got to follow the process. Let's not skip to step 50 and you're only on step 5. So, and I do gentle reminders for the most part, unless you really push my buttons, but this is very far and few between. Unless you're one of my kids. No. So definitely think about that personality style when you're collaborating. If you're working with somebody that's pen and paper and doesn't want to do tech, is that going to work? Like, or you have somebody that's super techie and you're not super techie, are you going to understand what they're doing and are they doing it right if you don't understand anything about the platform or what they're doing? Especially if it's a cold collaboration where you don't know them, you don't know their reputation or whatever, and you're going on just whatever you've looked at to research them. So those are all important things about collaboration. And like I said, when you're collaborating with friends or family, still write it down. You don't have to make it this big legal thing, but still write it down just so each party knows what their expectations are. And then check in. That's my other thing when you're collaborating. Don't go, we're collaborating, we're not talking for 6 months. Okay. I can tell you this year, every 6 months, something huge just happened in my life this year that has changed my pivot, point of view, my business, and everything else. So make sure you set those check-ins. And, if you're people that want to check in super frequently, once a month or whatever, have that in place too. So how you're going to check in and how often you're going to check in and your collaboration is extremely important. If you're somebody that has a tight schedule and you're opposite time zones and you can't meet on Zoom, how are you going to collaborate? Is it all email? Is it recordings? It's all doable. You just have to figure it out, and figure out what works. Go ahead, Megan.
Thanks, Sondra. Yes, I just wanted to put 1 or 2 points in the pot there, and you touched on one there. You might be the right fit on paper, and in reality, it just doesn't work. There are so many factors to be looked at, and what I've discovered over the last few years is not only to be looked at, but to actually be experienced. So, Peter, I'm sorry, I stopped taking your advice for a little while there, and I just jumped in with both feet. I'm just like, let's try this out, and let's just see where it goes. Let's see what speed bumps we might encounter, and let's just do it. Some of them have worked and some of them certainly haven't. And it's part of the experience, right? And then I feel it's really important to mention that collaboration has to be symbiotic. It has to be where both parties or all parties are benefiting and adding equal value, right? And I personally like to approach my collaborations by stepping up to add value. And a lot of my current collaborations run off the fact that I have just been in someone's space for a while, adding value just because that's what I was doing on the day. They got benefit out of it. And at some point later on, they decided, maybe it's time to approach Megan about a collaboration. So being able to add value in a space and being able to help people out. You know, one of my biggest donations in one of my businesses came from the fact that somebody from overseas called and said, I've got something stuck in Cape Town that I need help with. And I said, well, I'll take a drive and sort you out. No problem. And that entire situation panned out to a really major collaboration and win for one of my business spaces. And it was purely on the back of being able to be of service to someone when they needed something and someone to step in for them. And then also just be creative about your collaborations, guys. You know, a scientist and an accountant, they can collaborate. They absolutely can. You need to connect with the person, figure out, make that meeting space, create connection. If it's there, you'll feel it. And then be creative. You don't have to do the standard 1, 2, 3. It's like just sit there and brainstorm. And that's what I find to be the best kind of collaboration. It's just don't look for the opportunities as much as you create them within the collaboration. And just both or all parties be open to doing stuff off the wall sometimes, because sometimes that's what it takes. So just open the mind a little bit, get creative, and yeah, it all goes down to experience, guys. So it's about enjoying the journey while you're there and just, you know, going with it. And if it doesn't work out, it's another rack of experience tallied up and off you go. That's it.
I love that. I love that, Megan. Yeah, sometimes you gotta take that risk and get to, and do it. And sometimes you'll learn more about yourself by doing that and learn about talents that you may not realize you have or resources. That is one of the things I'm known for, is like digging into people's resources, thinking outside the box. Because a lot of people put everything in a box and don't want to think outside the box. And I'll be like, well, what about blah, blah, blah? And they'll be like, oh, wait, yeah, I have a niece that loves to, you know, draw, and she can draw and illustrate a book in probably a week. And you're over here stumbling around or whatever. Real quick, Megan, tell us about a couple of your businesses as we start to wrap up.
Okay, thank you. So first business, Paradox Rocks Communications. It is a space where I do communications work, writing for tech and creative industries, as well as coaching for entrepreneurs. That's for startup, aspiring, and transitioning entrepreneurs that just need assistance, support, and mentorship. And then the second business is called the Y Collab. It is a youth academy based on Cape Town, South Africa, but working globally. And our two key pillars are literacy and key life skills for young minds. And we are here to develop them holistically. So those are the two businesses. Thank you.
I love that. I love that, Megan. Of course, Megan's LinkedIn link will be at the show notes. The amazing Susan, who we want to give a big shout out to. Susan does our covers, our show notes, turns it into a podcast, schedules, reminds me to do it. What I need to do reminds Peter. What do you need? In the back of the show, 100% agree with that. My name is Sondra. I'm the owner of Get It Done Coaching, and I help you get things done, figure out the resources, think outside the box, set the goals, review the goals, the action steps. I have virtual assistants and am a virtual assistant, so I have resources in my pocket to help people get whatever it is done, whether it's wrapping up the year, setting up for the new year, and everything in between. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
Oh,
wrap us up.
am I wrapping us up? Okay, great stuff. I think that being said, we've got a pretty awesome group of people, some amazing talent, some incredible characters, and I think at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If the space you want to experience, then come and experience it. Come meet some people, come join us on the coffee shop show online. You can watch the coffee shop show. Come meet some awesome people. That's what it's all about. And that's why our links will be in the description. Reach out, have a conversation, figure things out. That being said, may you all